make Pac-12. They might make Mountain West. They're not making NFL. That's where the big boys play, Jason.
That's true.
And I love Matt Barrows. You know that. I know you do too. We love having him on every week. And it has nothing to do with him. I enjoy having him on. It's like Red Pop on Friday. Yeah. I enjoy having them on after wins more than losses. And finally, it seems like it's been years. We have a big win. I don't care if it was the Patriots. It's a W in the W column.
Yeah.
From the Athletic, the one, the only, the lovely, the talented Matthew Barrows. Good morning, Matt.
Morning. Yeah, I think the Hornets might be able to take on the Patriots.
Wow.
That'd be a good game, right?
Yeah, that's bulletin board material for the next time these guys play. Matt, it was this, that, whatever. It's a win. Let's start with this. Forget that it was the Patriots, of course, but just what excited you that you saw out there? Maybe some question marks you had going in that were answered in a way that's satisfactory.
Well, I'll start with the defensive line, which lost Javon Hargrave in the previous game, and then during practice, his replacement, Jordan Elliott, came up with a foot injury. He was questionable for the game. He plays. He started to play pretty well initially. Then he goes down with a knee injury and doesn't play the rest of the game. So all of a sudden, this defense is really light. But I thought several players kind of stepped up. I thought Malik Collins had a really nice game. You saw Yetur Gross-Matos play a lot of snaps. He's a defensive end. He played a lot of snaps inside and played well. His essential replacement at defensive end, Sam Okwanu, he played something like 15 snaps and had an impact on 10 of them. And then Evan Anderson, undrafted guy, rookie. You don't expect a lot from players like that. He came in, had to play a lot more snaps than they intended, and he didn't look overmatched. So I thought that group as a collective played really well. And then the other thing that stood out is Brock Purdy. I think that the 49ers were seeing things at the beginning of the game that they weren't expecting. They had to adapt. That's what the NFL is all about, adaptation. And he did. And in the second half, they started going deep, and that's what essentially blew this game wide open.
Matt Barrows joining us, of course, brought to you by Stockton Honda. Matt, Fred Warner's interception, just the gifts he has to, one, make that play, get up, score. Look, we all marvel at what he's able to do, but I guess the concern after the game certainly was the injury to the ankle. What's the latest? What do we know about his injury?
It doesn't seem like it's a long-term thing. He was on the sideline throughout that game, throughout the second half, cheering on the team. It wasn't like he needed help off of it or had to get carted into the locker room. So that suggests that it's not a long-term thing. We'll find out today. I mean, that's sort of been a theme early in the season. Kyle Shanahan says something at the end of games suggesting that an injury doesn't seem that bad. And then lo and behold, on Monday, we come to find out that it is that bad. So I don't want to give any false impressions only to be proven wrong later today, but the visual on Fred Warner seemed pretty good.
I'm going to give you one, Matt, just for fun, because why not? You have the opportunity. You've covered them both. You have the opportunity to have the complete careers of one of two players be reincarnated back to their rookie year. Do you choose Fred Warner or Patrick Willis?
It's a trick question here because as we know, Patrick Willis's career was too short. I mean, he battled foot issues his entire career, and only at the end did he really reveal how bad they were. And so I don't think we saw the full what it could have been fully. I will say at their primes, Patrick Willis is more impressive. Patrick Willis would come away, and this was on really bad teams. And I think Patrick Willis is going to be recognized at halftime of this upcoming Cardinals game.
Cool.
So there'll be some Patrick Willis stuff this week. But I just remember that 2007 season. That was his rookie year. That was a bad year for the 49ers. And I remember he was the only thing worth watching in most of the games. And his stat line, you come away and he'd have 17, 18, 20, 22 tackles in a game. He would be all over the field. They were like sort of like Paul Bunyan-esque games. And then you would go interview him afterward, and he'd be this regular sized guy. He's like,
Right.
6 foot, 6'1".
Right.
And you think, oh, I was expecting somebody, 7 feet tall with lightning bolts bursting out of his helmet. So, I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from Fred Warner. He does things. He's the best linebacker in the game right now. Clear defensive player of the year candidate, starting to play himself into the conversation of Hall of Fame, like Patrick Willis is. But Willis was something out of this world when he was at his best.
Just to kind of underline your point about how unfortunately shorter Patrick Willis's career was, they both came up at the same age, the rookie years. If he followed the same career arc, next year would be Fred Warner's final season in the NFL.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Matt, on the injury front, we were all kind of wondering, guessing what's going on with Christian McCaffrey. News may be getting worse. Come Friday, I think we heard the Niners may be ramping him up. What does that mean? What do you think that means about his future?
This ramp is a very, very shallow ramp. Okay, we're not talking 45 degrees. We're talking maybe like 7-degree ramp. So I think that they're going to be very cautious with the ramping up. But it does mean that he is going to start doing some football things this week. The issue before, and I think we talked about this, is that this is an injury, the Achilles tendonitis, that gets better with rest. And Christian McCaffrey is not a great rester, and that's what putting him on IR was designed to do. Give him a 2-week chunk where he's not doing any football stuff. And he used that 2-week chunk to go to Germany and get treatment there. And no one's quite sure exactly what he got and whether that will require a second trip overseas, and whether that's sort of built into this ramp up process. I mean, it's one of the things that he could have done was go to Germany, have stem cells harvested, and then those stem cells go into a culture, and it takes 6-8 weeks for that culture to take effect, and then he goes back and has those stem cells injected into his Achilles. So that was last week. So we're talking about another month from now, if he's on that procedure, on that track. We don't know. This is all speculation, but he's eligible to come back for the Seahawks game, which is on a Thursday night, week 6. Nobody thinks that he's going to be back for that game. It's going to be later than that. And that's part of this gentle ramp up process that we're talking about.
I mean, let me ask you this. Is any of this coyness that Kyle is so good at, any of this baby ramp, if not speed bumping up his progress, is any of this gamesmanship just to, I don't know, keep other opposing coaches on their toes a little bit? Number one. Number two, what is the virtue with Matt, as you know, they got the Cardinals this weekend, and then it's Seahawks, Chiefs, Cowboys, Bucks, Seahawks, Packers, Bills, that gauntlet this year. But what is the virtue with Jordan Mason doing so well? I understand McCaffrey's the man, but of rushing him back at all when it's Super Bowl or bust for this team, that's the part I don't get.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's rushing him back. I do think that they need to know if this thing is going to respond or whether they have to take a different tact here. They haven't done anything at the running back spot. I mean, they're barely getting anything out of Isaac Guerrero, who's his quote unquote the number 2 tailback, even though I think it's clear now that they see Deebo Samuel as the number 2 tailback.
Right.
The other tailback on the team, Patrick Taylor Jr., has yet to even appear on offense. So I think that kind of speaks to Jordan Mason taking the bulk of the load, B, Deebo Samuel being there as a backup or change of pace back, and C, they, if they were really pessimistic about Christian McCaffrey, I think that they would have made a move by now. They would have signed a Jerick McKinnon or a Matt Breida, maybe even trade for a running back. They haven't done that yet. So I think that, I mean, at the very least, they're hopeful that McCaffrey is back after the bye. I mean, that was the Ian Rappaport suggestion early November. That lines up with the bye week, week 9 bye week. So I think that's what the 49ers are circling right now.
Matt Barrows from The Athletic joining us, brought to you by Stockton Honda. Matt, as far as getting a couple players back yesterday, what kind of spark, besides, I mean, an incredible touchdown catch by Kittle, but Kittle and Debo being back, did you sense that was a lift to them, at like that emotional spark to the squad?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, who got the first carry of the game? Debo Samuel just kind of underscores what he means to the team. And then, they have that awful kick return fumble, and that leads to the Patriots' only touchdown of the game. But the Patriots all of a sudden are only down 10 points, and it's starting to look like the Rams game all over again. And then the very next play, the next time the 49ers have the ball, that's when they went deep to Debo Samuel. That was essentially the backbreaker of the game. So he was involved in a lot of the big plays. It's good to see him going deep. People think that he lost his speed, but he was up in the 20s on that play, right about where he was back in 2019. So I think that speaks to what kind of condition he was in going into the season.
So going forward now, with the schedule the way it is, it appears that guys are coming back. Christian McCaffrey still in the air. But let's look at the receivers real quick. Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings. We talked last week about Ayuk not being there yet. And Jennings, I think I'd asked you, could he be, I don't know, something like, could he be the number one receiver on this team, or is he a wide receiver one? I know we're still there and another game doesn't make a difference, but did you see anything out of Ayuk that made you feel better, or that he is ramping up for real? And when it comes to Jennings, will this time spent with him being effectively the number one receiver, is this something that could pay dividends in the long run, or is he going to go back to being third and Juwan? How do you see that working long run with him?
I mean, everything that goes his way, he hauls in. That deep ball, if you watch it in slow motion, it's really impressive because he loses sight of it. And I guess you always do when it's, right over the back of your head. And he has the instinct to kind of move one of his hands out and basically guide it back to the other hand. I mean, it's just an incredible play. It's all instinctual. But I think it really kind of speaks to his confidence level right now. You throw it anywhere near him, he's going to come down with it. And a quarterback will sense that. A quarterback knows that. That's why Purdy's been looking in his direction so much. The Ayuk situation is interesting. I think it was clear that the Patriots were, intent on taking him out of the game. On that Debo deep ball in the third quarter I just referenced, Debo's got single coverage. He's open because there's no safety there. Where's the safety? Safety has stepped up to take away that deep crosser, which is what we've seen time and time again from Brock Purdy and Brandon Ayuk, and which has really been unavailable. There was one on the first drive, and then that was it. It wasn't there against the Rams. It wasn't there against the Patriots. But what it is doing is opening up other players. That's not to say that it's worth it to have a $30 million a year decoy. That's essentially what he was in this game. But it does speak to what defenses are doing and, how defenses see Brandon Ayuk. I mean, they are saying to themselves, okay, that's the guy that we need to take out of the passing attack.
The receiver group's already pretty talented, obviously. How do you think they'll incorporate the rookie, Ricky Pearsall?
Yeah, he's eligible to start practicing this week. So we could see him on the practice field on Wednesday. And he could be up for the Cardinals game, which would be poetic. He's from the Phoenix area. So, I don't know. Rookie receivers getting into the offense is difficult. Just ask Jacob Cowing. He hasn't gotten any passes his way, although I do think he got an offensive snap yesterday. So we're moving in the right direction here with Jacob Cowing. But yeah, I don't know how they'll incorporate him because it does seem like everybody is healthy and Juwan Jennings is hot, so you don't want to take him out of the game. But I think they also want to start getting Pearsall some reps at some point. I think a lot of people would just like to see him on the field.
Last thing for you, Matt. Brock Purdy has run approximately 17 miles behind the line of scrimmage. I think we saw a stat. What was it, that big run last week against the Rams? What was it, like he ran for 74 yards behind the line of scrimmage total? Some stat place figured that out. And we saw yesterday just, again, that not that he's like super fast, although he's not slow. And I know he made that point in the post game, but his ability to kind of have that sixth sense and know when the pocket collapses, where to go, what to do, and then also to throw on the run. He had that pick shortly after that wonderful play. But what have you seen from Brock, especially in the last couple of games, where it really does seem like he's unlocked a little bit more of those feet?
Yeah, he's had to. I mean, he's holding onto the ball longer than any other quarterback in the league right now. And I think the bottom line is what I just described. Defenses are throwing things at the 49ers that they didn't see last year, and they're taking away the reads that Purdy is used to seeing. So he's had to adjust and to take more time to throw. He doesn't want to throw it into coverage. And to his credit, he's able to buy extra time. And I actually think, that the 49ers offensive line is an often criticized unit, but I thought that they played very well yesterday and gave him some extra time to do those things. Like I said, it was all about sort of figuring out what to do in this game when that initial plan was thwarted by the Patriots defense. And in the second half, they did figure that out. And I thought that Purdy's legs essentially gave the 49ers time in the first half to build a lead, to give them the luxury of being able to figure out what to do in the passing game, which they eventually did.
That's Matt Barrows of The Athletic, each and every week putting out all kinds of content on our San Francisco 49ers. You can hear him each and every Monday recapping the previous weekend's games. And hopefully we get to talk again after another win over those hurting Arizona Cardinals. I'm having a stroke here. Arizona Cardinals coming in and coming off that huge loss to the Commanders over the weekend. Matt, always a pleasure, my friend.
Anytime, guys. Talk to you in 7 days.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's right. That's Matt Barrows. We'll take a break when we come back. Week 4 games, including a possible emergence of talent once again for